Wild boars, creatures that may seem harmless at first glance, have become a terrifying nightmare for countless rural farmers. They destroy rice fields, rip through orchards, and even attack livestock, causing more and more serious damage with each passing day. In response, hunting missions are being organized not out of thrill, but as a responsible action to help control boar populations and protect peaceful livelihoods. And today, we set out once again on one of those critical missions. What dangers await us in the wild this time? Join us on this intense, edge-of-your-seat hunt right now. This time, we chose a vast hillside in the U.S. to track down wild boars at the break of dawn. The terrain is rough, densely wooded, and every shadow could be hiding a beast. All gear had been thoroughly checked, guns loaded, hound sniffing, and eyes sharp. Just past a small slope, a rustle broke the morning stillness from down the hill. We froze. A massive boar emerged slowly from the brush. Its size alone could make your heart skip a beat. Wasting no time, I raised my rifle and held my breath steady. Bang! The shot shattered the silence. The boar let out a thunderous growl and collapsed. A perfect opening to what promised to be an epic hunt. That first gunshot echoed through the woods like a warning. Suddenly, from the opposite forest line, a herd of panicked boars burst out, crashing through trees, scrambling uphill to flee. I spun around, locked onto one of them, and fired. Direct hit. It staggered midway up the slope before collapsing. The rest kept running, leaving behind broken branches and chaos. No hesitation, I followed the trail left by the herd. There they were. I lifted my rifle, steadied my breath, and aimed with care. One precise shot, one more target down. The boar struggled for a moment, then lay still. Another trophy claimed, but the hunt wasn't over yet. Meanwhile, at the forest's edge, my teammate was combing through dense undergrowth. Out of nowhere, a giant black shape exploded from the bushes, charging forward at an insane speed. Instinct kicked in. Jack raised his rifle and fired. Boom! The beast was hit, tumbling over and rolling several times before crashing down. The hill hunt had come to a breathless, adrenaline-filled close. With the hillside sweep completed, we shifted toward the open plains. The ATV rumbled across the cracked, dry earth. The hounds were unleashed, barking wildly. The chase was on again. Our weapons, trackers, binoculars, everything double-checked. After driving a few hundred meters, a massive boar suddenly appeared, charging straight toward me. I didn't flinch. I raised my rifle, braced myself, and aimed. Boom! The sound echoed across the silent plain. The creature was hit, staggered a few steps, then dropped. Dust exploded into the air. We pressed deeper into the field, carefully stepping through low shrubs. Suddenly, a bush shook violently ahead. I dropped low and tightened my grip on the trigger. A boar burst out, sprinting for its life. Right at that moment, I fired. The shot landed square on its flank. It was over. Not far off, from the opposite side of the field, I spotted my teammate taking aim. His eyes locked on another monstrous boar. He didn't hesitate. The shot rang out with power. The beast howled and dropped, thrashing for just a few seconds before going still.
Seguiremos con finca cada gestión, que es el único camino que hay. Y algo...
This hunting expedition was more than just a face-off with danger. It was a showcase of teamwork, courage, and razor-sharp skills. Every move was carried out in strict accordance with local wildlife laws and regulations. During the weekend break, I decided to return to my hometown to visit an uncle in Texas. He often complained about the aggressive wild boars that regularly sneak into farms, destroy cornfields, and tear up cotton fields, leaving everyone worried. Not wanting to miss the opportunity, I joined the local wild boar hunting team for some real hands-on experience. Let's see if I'm lucky enough to take one down today. Early the next morning, my uncle, Mr. James, handpicked several hunting dogs from the training camp. Then Uncle James and I, along with the pack, headed to a spot where wild boars were known to appear frequently. Along the way, we spotted signs of rooting near a water hole, likely a place where the boars came to drink and wallow. The dogs seemed to catch a scent. They sniffed the ground, then quickly darted into the bushes. Seeing that, we hurried to keep up. Before long, we saw the dogs pinning down a scruffy black wild boar weighing about 60 kilograms. We jumped in to help capture and tie the animal. After tightly tying up the wild boar and loading it onto the bed of the pickup truck, we continued moving through the edge of the forest. This was an ideal place to encounter wild boars out looking for food. The area had thick grass and tall palm bushes, which served as shelters for the boars. Our hunting dogs always took the lead role in the pursuit of wild boars. After a dramatic chase, the brave dogs helped us take down a giant wild boar hidden in the thick grass. It took a great deal of effort for us to pull it out of that area. After getting the boar out of the forest, I followed the hunters as we moved in a different direction. Everything around here was fairly quiet, and our dogs quickly spotted a wild boar wandering nearby. Immediately, the hunters in our team restrained and tied up the animal. By the afternoon, we continued leading the dogs deeper into the dense forest, crossing a small stream. The further we went, the thicker and more difficult the terrain became. Interwoven branches forced us to duck and crawl, which made the dogs our most effective weapon. Not long after, we captured a large wild boar. Its fur was mottled with patches of color. This was also a fairly big boar. It took 4 men to drag it out of the forest and load it onto the truck. Continuing along the stream deep in the forest, my dogs detected a wild hog not far ahead. I could clearly hear it snorting along with the barking of the dogs. Seizing the moment, I finished it off with my hunting knife. Although this hog wasn't as big as the ones my teammates had taken down, it was still a meaningful trophy to me. Only when you witness the battle between the dogs and the wild boars with your own eyes can you truly feel the strength and tenacity of these hunting dogs. Even when facing the powerful jaws of a boar, they attack smartly, aiming for the head and ears to effectively subdue their prey. As the sun began to set, we had achieved a great result. You might think we brought down a large number of wild boars today, but in reality, the number was quite small because the wild boar population here is still large and growing rapidly. They remain a serious threat to the surrounding farmland. Wild boar hunting has long been an essential part of life for many hunters. It's considered an effective way to protect crops and control one of the most destructive wild animals. Each hunting trip usually starts early in the morning and can stretch into the late afternoon, demanding patience, tight coordination, and sometimes a bit of luck. The chaotic barking of hunting dogs echoed across the empty field, and instantly catching the hunter's attention. Without hesitation, he followed the sound, and just minutes later, spotted a wild boar that had strayed into the crops. Trailing right behind were two fierce dogs, relentlessly harassing and cornering the boar. The situation was a golden opportunity. But the first shot didn't end the chase. The boar reacted in a flash, darting away with surprising speed. Drawing nearer, he found his moment. The wild boar collapsed on the spot, bringing a heart-pounding pursuit to an end. Wild boars are currently among the most dangerous invasive species in many countries, especially in the United States, Australia, and parts of Europe. With an extremely fast reproduction rate and devastating destructive power, these animals are estimated to cause over $2.5 billion in damages each year in the US alone, particularly in agriculture. They are highly intelligent, adapt well to various environments. Hunting dogs and firearms remain some of the most effective tools in rapid response eradication efforts, helping to temporarily reduce wild boar populations in hotspot areas. A dramatic wild boar hunt is unfolding in the rugged lands of Anadolu, led by a team of seasoned professional hunters. Wild boars are known for their speed and incredibly sharp reflexes. Then the gunshot breaks the silence, tearing through the still air. The wild boar takes a direct hit, writhing in pain. It's a moment that showcases an astonishing level of precision from the hunter. Hunting wild boars is no different from a real-life survival game. Seasoned hunters are like master-level gamers, facing off against a tough opponent. Wild boars that are fast, numerous, without calm nerves and sharp judgment. Hitting your mark becomes nearly impossible. And yet, these hunters can bring it down with a single deadly shot. Like the elite skills of a top-tier gamer, but this isn't a simulation. This is 100% real, where every decision leads to a real consequence. Across the vast open field, the hunters set out once again, accompanied by their loyal, battle-hardened hunting dogs. But this time, the mission goes beyond just hunting. Their goal carries a greater purpose: to protect the cornfields, now heavily ravaged by wild boars. A wild boar was fleeing in panic, a desperate sprint to escape the relentless pursuit of the hunter. Every step it took was soaked in fear, but that hope was fleeting. A single gunshot rang out swift, the boar collapsed, writhing in its final moments before silence reclaimed the field. The hunt ended as quickly as it had begun. The result? A hunt more successful than anyone could have hoped for. This wild boar hunt wasn't just an ordinary hunting trip, it was a vital part of a broader effort to control and push back a threat that directly endangers agriculture.
days in Greece have given me countless unforgettable experiences. One of them is the wild boar hunting trip in the Erymanthus Mountains in the freezing winter. Here, natural predators are becoming increasingly rare, causing the wild boar population to grow uncontrollably. I, along with a few friends, set out on this hunting trip. From this experience, I understood why the Greeks still keep the tradition of wild boar hunting as an integral part of their life. After a simple breakfast, we sat in a familiar vehicle and headed towards the Erymanthus Mountains in western Peloponnese. It was the wild boar mating season, so they were moving around more, providing favorable conditions for hunting. Thanks to the snow, we could easily track the boars' whereabouts. I closely followed their tracks, moving quickly as a feeling told me the prey was very near. And sure enough, a dark shape came rushing down from the opposite mountain slope. I fired in time, one clean shot. The boar fell and slid down the slope. However, I moved closer and fired another shot because, in the forest, certainty is always the most reliable companion. Not far from me, Gilbert was also in position, continuously firing when a whole herd of wild boars appeared unexpectedly. However, the boars weren't easy to handle. They ran like the wind, weaving through thick tree trunks in a maze-like manner. Even though Gilbert tried to stay close, it was really difficult to aim under these conditions, and in the blink of an eye, the entire herd vanished from sight as quickly as they had appeared. After about half an hour of moving, we had reached near the summit of the mountain. While still on the move, Gilbert and I noticed unusual movements from the trees beside us. Hunting instinct urged me to immediately raise my rifle and squeeze the trigger before the wild boar disappeared into the brush. And with just one shot, the target was neatly taken down. A quick, efficient shot, just the way I like it. Upon reaching the mountaintop, the air became even colder, and the snow beneath our feet grew thicker, but the sound of barking dogs echoed like a reminder that we couldn't stop. In the blink of an eye, a dark figure suddenly appeared. Gilbert steadied his rifle and fired a decisive shot. With the close distance, this time the boar couldn't escape. The race with the wild boars became more intense than ever before. Seizing every moment and every opportunity, we continued our hunt that afternoon. The hounds remained by our side, helping the team locate new targets. The snowstorm thickened, and we had to move down for safety. We set up a temporary small tent, and I sat waiting for my teammates to return. While sitting alone in the silence, the sound of the hounds and gunshots from afar woke me up to immediately raise my rifle. I aimed and fired decisively. The boar collapsed in the midst of the heavy snowfall. I had completed an unexpected hunt. The rain stopped, and under the gloomy sky, I still pressed on, looking for the last targets of the day. Hiding behind some wild branches, I silently observed the wild boar's movements. Waiting for it to reach the right position, I gently raised my rifle and took a decisive shot to end the chase. After the shot rang out, the wild boar fell, marking the end of this challenging hunting trip. The challenges we faced throughout the journey were not only about hunting.
Texas is home to the largest population of feral hogs in the United States, estimated at nearly 3 million, causing nearly $100 million in damage to the agricultural sector each year. In response, Texas has resorted to everything from trapping and gun hunting to more daring methods, chasing wild hogs by helicopter. This measure is not only an effort to control the herd, but has also become popular as an adventure tourism service for shooters who love challenges. Of course, not everyone can participate. Pilots need a valid Federal Aviation Administration pilot license, and shooters like me need a specialized license, such as an aerial wildlife management permit. With all the necessary paperwork and careful preparation, we began our trip. The weather today is quite nice, clear, little wind and light sunshine, perfect for a helicopter hunt. From above, I could see dense tracts of wild boars running across the sand. Then a herd of about 10 pigs came into view. I signaled the pilot to lower altitude, raised my gun, and pulled the trigger repeatedly. One by one, the pigs were hit, falling down one by one on the road. It couldn't have been a better start. Still excited, the pilot suddenly pointed to the northeast. Another flock appeared. Then the gun was loaded again. The helicopter glided low. I calmly aimed, starting with the last ones in line. Each shot was decisive. A new batch of prey was taken down. Started to move into an area with sparse bushes, but still open enough to walk. Wild boars were extremely alert and slow to react to the air. So, once I spotted my prey, especially those running alone, it took me less than 2 minutes to finish them off cleanly. I strained my eyes to find every trace. Then suddenly, another herd appeared. It seems that the helicopter's low altitude to reduce glare caused a lot of noise, which alerted the pigs. They immediately scattered in different directions, making aiming difficult. I thought the drama had died down, but as the helicopter tilted into a new curve, I caught a glimpse of a pig in the middle of the open. Immediately, the pilot tilted the helicopter slightly towards the target. I seized the opportunity, steadied my gun, and pulled the trigger. Starting to turn golden. We had to make the most of our last few minutes as the helicopter hunt only lasted until dusk. I aimed at the largest leader and pulled the trigger. I successfully took down the prey with just one shot. Meanwhile, my friend Jake had already managed to kill a few other members of the pack. video ends here. How do you feel about today's hunt? Leave your comments in the comment section, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to follow the next dramatic hunt.